So when we're talking about communication, we're using that phrase, but I'm going to be honest, most of the people listening don't understand what I mean when I say communication. Because we use that word so broadly that the meaning of it starts to be lost. But in me just saying that's rude, instead of me saying, I really had a need of my aunt really liking you, and I feel like the way that you're replying to her is going to cause her to feel like you're just a disrespectful young man, and that's not the perspective and the impact that I wanted you to have with my family, right? The first time you met him. Now, that didn't happen. I just made that up. But the point is, that's me expressing my true desire and need versus me just saying, you're rude.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Romance and Real Estate, where we
help you level up in life, love,
and money.
Y'all looking good today. I see y'all.
Thank you. Not too shabby yourself.
Hey, man, Polo game strong. Polo game strong. Thank you so much. All right, now, so today, man, to get started, I wanted to give the folks a tip. As far as just like, everybody's not going to want to enter a mentorship or a program to support them in their journey.
Right.
I would recommend it because you're going to cut time and you're going to save money.
Yes.
And so, time being the most valuable asset that you're going to lose there. If you have a job, it's just going to be hard to juggle everything as there's a long list of things to do.
Yes.
But I would like to share a few of the things that are very, very important that you have to establish coming into the industry.
Yeah.
And me recently doing the same thing too. I've actually just really had to, first and foremost, just understand what is my personal ultimate goal in life and how does this support it?
Yes.
How does this align with it? And so being able to do that, there was 5 categories that I sat down that I could share with you, and you can use it as the first step to identify the things that are most important to you.
Okay.
And so when I do goals, I break them down into personal. So the personal are really personal. They have nothing to do with nobody else, or they affect other people like family, but like not directly, right? Like if I want to ride a bike, I want to ride a bike, right? Like that's just what I want to do. If I want to play a video game, I want to play the video game, but that's not part of my game. So let's start off with personal goals. For example, to give you one, I want to go to counseling once a week.
Yes.
And so our mentors say that every entrepreneur needs a counselor and a mentor.
Agreed.
So I think that that's super dope, and I've applied that. The second one is health. At the end of the day, to be able to achieve anything, you need health.
Yes.
To be in a great status for you to be able to execute whatever you need to do. The next thing I have on there is like finances.
Yes.
And so finances and business are different, but you can have personal finance and business finance. In this case, we just don't say finances in general. So I, may want an emergency fund of $50,000. I may want a certain cash flow of $100,000 per month. Those are examples of finance goals. Then you have business. Business in this sense, like, what do you want to achieve in the next 3 months in your business?
Yes.
I don't do 1 year or 5 year goals typically, unless told to, but just because things change so much once you hit those goals.
Yes.
Why? Because when you hit a goal in business and you solve some problems, you're going to have 10 more problems than the problems you solved.
Yes.
So that's that. And then there's a balance of, you could say 6 goals: the spirituality, and like the self-reflection type of deal. But you could put that into personal, but spirituality. And then you have, last but not least, let me repeat that. I'm so sorry.
No, you're
personal,
not.
health, business, finances, and friendships. Relationships. So what I tend to do in the relationship aspect of thing is to identify what I want the relationship to look like this year.
I like that.
So there was some situations where my oldest kid and I went eye to eye with, the decision when me and Blair's mom had a baby. So I had to work on tweaking what that relationship looked like on my side. But I had to have that vision of it and able to understand what I got to do to get there.
Yes.
All right. And then that's just an example of that.
Yeah.
So I break those things down to then just like evaluate, and those are the measuring sticks that I use. So that's what I do for goal setting. The second step that you got to take into all of that is starting a business. Then is just really getting it started. You need a business name, EIN, and things like that. You got to start with your business formation.
Yes.
You know, somebody that can help you with this is an accountant. They're going to understand everything that you need. Then when you get started, I would not start, if you ever join us or if you ever do residential assisted living, home care, and real estate, I wouldn't do them all at one time. It's a lot. I would start off with home care.
Yeah.
And I would start off with home care first because you don't need real estate. You don't need to rehab. You literally just need to get your paperwork filed, have somebody that could overview it and actually execute it for you, or you could do it yourself. It's a long road to do it yourself, but you can do it. And if you do it, focus in on that and lock in on that for about a year. Allow yourself to build the capital to then go into residential assisted living, because that's going to take a little bit more capital to start.
Building blocks.
You know what I mean? So those are the first things that I would, do if I was to want to get started in home care, assisted living, and real estate.
Yes.
And the goal setting up your business properly. So we call that preparation.
Yeah.
And then actually, doing one at a time.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Now,
Good nuggets.
Yeah. Good enough.
while that's for business, what are some steps that we could do to prepare ourselves to be prepared for the relationship we desire?
Yeesh. Well, I mean, first and foremost, you have to know what it is that you really desire. And to know what it is that you really desire, there's going to have to be a lot of self-work, a lot of time that you take just for yourself. You didn't wake up one day and was like, hey, I'm going to do this. You did something completely different for almost a decade before you even got into real estate. But it took you the space of being self-aware of when things in you and desires in you shifted. So then when you understood that your desires shifted, so did your preparation.
Yes. And a lot of what it takes to be ready to enter into a relationship or even the dating world and commit to it is so aligned with who you are on the inside. And of course, we speak about communication and even how you speak to yourself. Sometimes we speak about communication, the focus is on how we speak to someone else, but it's about how we speak to ourselves. You know that wasn't gonna get past me. You was like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, no, you're not. I don't even, you know what I'm saying? How we speak to ourselves impacts how we speak to other people and then how we teach our children to communicate, right? So focusing in on what do I say to myself? If I make a mistake, it's like, oh, I'm so dumb, I'm so stupid. We focus on unhelpful thinking habits and distorted thinking habits in the psychology community that most people don't even realize they're doing. It could be like catastrophizing something. Like one thing goes back, it's like, oh my gosh, everything is all messed up. And it was just one thing. Or it could be assuming, quite frankly, just making assumptions when instead of just asking the question to get the information so you can make a decision. So one practice that I have found that is very helpful for the individual to practice with themselves before they speak to someone else is forward pacing. We do that in business. When you're speaking to someone, you go ahead and you speak about that person already taking the action, already moving forward. When you do that with yourself, it comes more naturally to do it with someone else. And for example, often we talk about men and women, and women desire their men to do something more or do something else or have some different habit. Well, when you do that thing, let's say it's when you give me a massage and I love it, I'm forward pacing like, oh, babe, I just love when you do that. It was just wonderful. I can't wait till you do it again. He never said he was going to do it again, but you're going ahead and you're affirming what you loved clearly.
I see you. Take care of me one more time.
Next Tuesday at 6 o'clock. But it's being clear because all of us, we are taking in so much information all day long. And just because someone says something in passing one time doesn't mean we pick up on it. But if we're intentional about emphasizing that which we truly desire and which we appreciate the most, then we can better influence whether or not that will happen again. When you mention goals, We are very clear on SMART goals with our clients. And it's another part of training in business that really does relate in relationships. So when we say SMART goals, we don't just mean like intelligent goals. We're referring to, of course, the SMART acronym. But just in case those don't know it, when our clients are setting their goals, we're like, okay, turn to page 147. Let's look at SMART. Remind yourself, because it could be, oh, well, I'm going to lose some weight by the summer. How much weight? How are you going to do this? What's the manner in which you're going to do it? So we focus on SMART goals so that it's more likely for you to obtain them. So specific, measurable, attainable, relative, and timely. Timely is the one that usually ties people up, because when you put a time limit on it, now you really, it's like you said, 10 toes down, now I got to do it. Like if you say, hey, I'm going to do this by Sunday, or hey, I'm going to accomplish this by 2 months from now, then I can check back with you and be like, so how'd it go? Or I can check in and say, how much progress have you made? When you have not mastered setting SMART goals for yourself and working towards them, it's going to be very difficult for you to work towards a goal with another person.
No doubt.
You get what I'm saying? You're not accustomed to that. And when they're checking in with you, you might feel some type of way, like, well, I said I was going to do what I was going to do, because you haven't normalized checking in and checking on your progress for yourself.
Yes.
Right? You're allergic to accountability.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't feel comfortable when somebody else does it to you. So these are activities that you can do with yourself, because I promise you, the season of singleness is not a sabotage season. It's not a season to avoid. It's not a season to rush through. The more you maximize your season of singleness and prepare for the relationship that you desire to have, the better the relationship will flow.
Absolutely.
And so when Erica was saying you have to know what you want for yourself, one way to do that is to focus on what we mentioned, which was the attraction factors. So we mentioned, what is your mission statement for yourself? What are your core beliefs, right? I was reading an article the other day, y'all. You know, Apple News always showing you different things to read, like I'm not busy. And it was a story of this woman who, it was an article, you might have read it too, y'all, where the guy was like Greek Orthodox and she was Jewish, and they were already engaged before he was able to tell her, oh, well, you wouldn't be able to come to the holiday because you're not Greek. And I stopped reading because I was like, girl, ain't nobody got time for this. How did you get all the way down to saying you're willing to marry this man for life, and you all have not talked about the difference in your core spiritual beliefs and how the familial impacts will impact that? Like, that's crazy to me. But I understand that that's what we're doing when we're not moving with intention and strategy.
You know, I'm thinking of something as you're talking. I don't watch TV. But me and my lady had some time to watch TV for 2 days, and she got me watching this show with Prince Harry and
Bridgerton.
Is that Bridgerton, or is it the documentary Meghan? And
the documentary.
I just wanted it to be Bridgerton.
The documentary of
Prince Harry and Meghan.
Yeah, so like I watched maybe like 4 of them.
And the miniseries.
And so
you mean to tell me that you'll get your hair done, your nails done, and your makeup done, but then you won't do anything to help you?
Girl, that math ain't matching.
No. So when is it going to be the time that we stop working on the outer things and start figuring out the inner things?
Girl, I think the time is now. And so for you, I'd encourage you to strut over, slide over, get on through, getandstaymarried.com. Because what we have for you is not just this great conversation like we're having today.
Yes.
But it's an entire community to help you know and love yourself, but focus on what we put in and what we put on. So all our clients have a personal stylist, a year with a finance coach, a flexibility coach, a sex educator, because there's a lot of people having sex,
but they not good at it.
Oh, don't let that be you. So go ahead, sis, slide on through, getandstaymarried.com. But for now, back to the show.
You say like how you get that far. To skip a long story short, what I inherited from it is like, okay, they met, he elected her, and then he's obviously growing through the family. And so when she got over there, she loves him, obviously. They still have a family, but she didn't realize what the pressure was to be in the royal family once she became
correct,
like was all in.
Right.
And so like the documentary was more about her mindset and how they were shifting.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, although he grew up in it, he elected to go with his wife and his family.
Protect them.
Mm-hmm.
Yup. And so he gave up the position.
Mm-hmm.
But despite that, you know, situations like that.
Yeah.
I think that's at like the ultimate level, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. And for that, with her not being British, she was not aware of like their paparazzi, if you will,
Okay,
right?
yep.
But he was, because unfortunately he lost his mom
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
because they were following Princess Diana around. So I don't want to say it was ignorance. It was just a lack of awareness and exposure, right?
Exposure, I go with
And
that.
I'm sure for him, I would imagine it's kind of difficult when you're a prince to really find someone that's going to love you for you.
Yeah.
And you don't want to scare that person away.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I think that he found that, like, 'cause
Right.
she loved him
It
for
seemed
him, but
like
she was just not happy.
Right.
And so,
because
like,
of how they were attacking her and saying things about her, and just everybody doesn't want that life.
Yes.
And it's like, I want you. I don't want all of this.
Yes.
in
And
that
so there's a
situation,
decision.
you know, that I felt like that was like something I could relate to, that I'm aware of,
Mm-hmm.
like that I recently just kind of watched, that I was just like, okay,
Yes.
like, because in her situation, the culture difference was not the preparation lack.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I think
right,
that they've pretty much in sync,
Mhm.
because if he's able to leave his family,
And they
Mhm.
still be grounded.
yeah,
Mhm.
you know. But I just was like, man, I didn't look at it like cultural. I look at it like, was there some lack of preparation in the sense of the position?
Right. But when you said cultural, that reminded me of something, even with my husband and I, because he's West Coast. He's straight out of Inglewood. Like, he's LA.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's him. Like, legit. And he be laughing at people like, y'all flew here. I grew here, right? And then you have me from the South, right? And so even how we interact and communicate with our elders, like, I was raised, if someone's older than you, is sir, ma'am. And even if they say something crazy, you don't say nothing. You just, okay. Like, you don't respond because they're your elder. And as long as they don't put their hands on you or really disrespect you, you just be quiet for another day.
Right.
Live another day. Whereas my husband is like, you can get it. You come at me left, I'm coming back right. Like, that's not it. And I realized it was a huge cultural difference
Yes.
between the two of us. Because I would be like, well, that's a little disrespectful. But even just doing that, that's just me passing a moralistic judgment. It's not me expressing my need in the matter. So when we're talking about communication, we're using that phrase. But I'm going to be honest, most of the people listening don't understand what I mean when I say communication. Because we use that word so broadly that the meaning of it starts to be lost. But in me just saying that's rude, instead of me saying, you know, I really had a need of my aunt really liking you, and I feel like the way that you're replying to her is going to cause her to feel like you're just a disrespectful young man, and that's not the perspective and the impact that I wanted you to have with my family, right? The first time you met him. Now, that didn't happen. I just made that up. But the point is, that's me expressing my true desire and need versus me just saying, you're rude. But understanding how to do that, how to rewire even what I'm going to express to get to the root of what I'm truly feeling and what I really desire, and not mask it with a label.
Yes.
You need to, it will behoove you
Yeah.
to learn how to do that and create a habit in that when you're starting out in your relationship or starting out in your marriage. Because name calling and moralistic judgments get old real quick.
Well, even as it pertains to, you know, Prince Harry and Meghan, I think it was one of those things also, like, she expressed to him in detail, like, even though we had this discussion, even though, you know, I was trained in certain ways, or I was given certain tips, or I was going through certain preparations, when I got in it, these were all of the feelings that I continued to feel. And it was almost like I was being judged. She was like, I mean, I didn't know I was going to be judged for the way I crossed my legs, or for, you know, opening my own door. And that made me feel, you know, like I was less than, like I wasn't worthy. And it was one of those things where he was looking at his wife and his family that he signed up for, that he wants. And he's like, at all costs, I need to protect the well-being of my family.
At all costs.
That's at all costs.
That's at all costs. We talk about every level of it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's why I brought that up.
Yes.
Like that was a, you know, a moment where you could tell that they had a unity, some, you know, synergy in what they did.
Yeah.
But I felt like she walked into something. So I kind of wanted to understand that.
Yeah.
So just to wrap up and actually sum up, the things that they want to take away from me in business, make sure that you understand yourself and your personal goals, work on your preparation to start your business, and then understand the first step to your business. Don't take up on everything at one time. And so again, that's why I kind of recommended that.
Yeah.
And as far as relationships.
So you want to focus on your communication skills for real, both with yourself and with the other person, considering forward pacing, having SMART goals, and you said another one in the beginning.
Don't get me to lie.
Knowing your own desires.
That's what I said. Y'all gotta help me out.
You didn't say that. You didn't even remember.
I did say
Hey, y'all. Tap in next week. Make sure to subscribe, comment. Let us know how you feel. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm Big Prince. I'm King Harry in my house. So, till then, peace.